So, are you ready? Uh, Christmas is almost here. So, here I am on Christmas Caribbean Delights, and I'm going to show you step by step how to make your Christmas cake, your rum cake, your black rum cake. Black cake, rum cake, they call it so many different things. Um, but I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. Now, in preparation for that, in June, I think it was June or maybe June, July, I don't know, I can't remember right now, but I have a video there where I did my fruits. The fruits that I'm going to put into the cake, I marinated them months ahead, maybe in April, and they're sitting right here next to me. And they've been in this solution. The solution that they're in is rum, cherry brandy, port wine, and I did add a little bit of vodka in there. Um, Whilst I minced them, I soaked them, and so that they can plump up, and then I put them through the blender with the liquor, and so now it's marinating. It was marinating for the last how many months? Now they're very intoxicated and intoxicating. So um, so now I'm going to now it's the cake time, the cake season. So what we're going to do now, we're going to make the cake. Well, we're going to use like 5 cups of this intoxicated fruit here, and that I marinated, and we're going to put together a lovely black cake, a Christmas cake, which is going to be delectable. It's going to be delicious, and it's going to knock your socks off. So before further ado, let's go to our ingredients. And always, guys, always remember to prepare your pans ahead of time. And there's a reason why this particular instruction is at the head of the recipe. It always tells you, oh, prepare your pans, preheat your oven, prepare your pans, flour and grease and flour your pans ahead of time before you start mixing. Because once you start mixing and you get into that recipe, and you have to concentrate on what goes next, and and everything that's in there, and the mixing and the texture and the temperature and everything, you tend to forget that you have to put it in a pan at the end. So that is why preheat your oven to 350 or whatever temperature, and grease and prepare your pan ahead of time in the beginning before you start the body of the recipe. So always remember that. So I have two 8-inch spring form pans here that I have prepared. I have buttered and floured, and they're all ready. They're ready for the mixture. So I am now going to start mixing my flour, my sugar, and my butter, and to get that to a smooth consistency in the stand mixer. So here we go to the stand mixer with my butter and sugar, and then we're going to add the eggs one at a time, and I'll be back. So now in the stand mixer, I have the butter, the softened butter and the sugar, and that's going to go. Brown sugar takes a little longer time to dissolve and work into and incorporate into butter. So this is going to take maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm going to just let it go, and then before we start adding the eggs into here with the other ingredients. Okay, so another 10 minutes. We'll be back when it's nice and incorporated and smooth and looking good. Okay, so right now it's going. I'm going to increase the speed as it as it gets a little, you know, a little together. So we're going to move it along there. Okay guys, it's at a nice smooth consistency. The sugar is almost melted. I'm going to start to put the eggs in one at a time. I had to slow it down so that we wouldn't have eggs flying all over the kitchen. So always scrape your sides down. Scrape down the sides so that everything could get mixed in there. As you pour the eggs in, you mix for at least a minute before you pour the next egg in there, so that it all gets worked in properly. Okay? Okay. Now I'll add my zest, my orange zest. All the eggs are in there. They're well incorporated, beaten. Orange zest. Let that go for a while, and then the extract, vanilla extract, tablespoon of vanilla extract, a teaspoon, and we let that mix well. There's a fantastic aroma coming from the mixer. So we let that mix for a while, for about a minute, and then we'll be back. Okay guys, once this worked a little bit, after I put the vanilla in there, we'll add my my molasses. Add the molasses in there, and let's see, get some working space here. Get some working space here and put the molasses in there. The molasses and our squirts of bitters. It's about a quarter tablespoon of each. That's the orange, and this is the lime. Just a few squirts. I would say about a quarter tablespoon of each. Okay, so we'll continue mixing here, and then we're soon to incorporate our dry ingredients, our flour and the baking powder and stuff like that. So let's get the molasses and the bitters all mixed in there with the lemon rind and the lemon zest and the orange zest, and I'm starting to get a nice brown color, nice tan color right there. So very good. Now we'll bring this forward a little bit. And I need a whisk to whisk the flour, baking powder, the mixed baking spice, and cinnamon. And we give that all a mix, a whisk, to get it all mixed into each other. and we'll start pouring this in here a little bit at a time. Can't do too much because you don't want a big puff of flour all over the kitchen. So like a quarter cup of it at a time. Just shake it down. Work it in there. Once we get it all in there, we'll increase the speed. There we go. So, scrape your sides down as usual. Scrape the sides down. Now, you see this nice tan color that we have here? I mean, some people love it like that, and we'll leave it like that. But we haven't put our fruits in yet, and the fruits has some color to it, so it is going to get a little darker. So once we put the fruits in there, but let the flour and the butter all get incorporated and mixed in there very well. And I'm going to raise the speed a little and give this maybe 2 minutes, and I'll be back. And now we have everything incorporated in there, our eggs and flour and everything. We're going to add our fruits, our intoxicated fruits. We'll add 5 cups of our intoxicated fruits. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. And that's 5. So 5 cups of fruit, which was marinated in liquor, marinated in rum, and cherry brandy, some wine, port wine, and all that. So now this is we're gonna incorporate. We're gonna just let it go and let the fruit mix into the flour mixture, and let it go from there. Start at a very slow pace and let it incorporate, let it mix in there pretty well. Okay. Once I clean up a little. According to our color, because we're making a black cake, we need a little darker color than this. When it bakes, it's going to get darker, but still need a little darker color than what it has right now. So you have to be very careful with the burnt sugar. I'll go a teaspoon at a time, or maybe a tablespoon at a time, and then see how it comes out. Just drizzle in a tablespoon in there and let it go and see. Then you'll see what color you have. It's a little nice little darker. You don't want to add too much of the burnt sugar because it can also make it a little bitter. So you have to keep that in mind. Oh, lovely. I think I can even stop there. See these guys? That's a nice color. I'm just going to add like half a teaspoon, like a teaspoon more. And I think that's what we'll settle for right now. Nice. All right, we'll just mix this a couple more times and then we'll be back to put it in the pan. So here we have our two 8-inch pans, and we're going to pour this over. We're just going to fill it almost to the halfway mark. We're not going to fill them right up. The cake does not rise too much. It's not a fully rising cake because of the weight, you know. So once you do it halfway is halfway. It's going to just puff up a little bit and you'll get a little more volume. But other than that, it's not too much volume coming from these guys in here. So not too much air. So this is a solid, it's a dense cake, so to speak. It's not like an airy cake like a sponge cake or so. It's a dense cake, almost like a pudding, so to speak. So don't expect it to rise and puff up and all that. It's dense and decadent. Hey, those are the two D's I describe it with. Dense and decadent. Okay, what else do you want? You know, you notice I didn't use the nuts, the slivered almonds, because I had slivered almonds also in the fruits. I had slivered almonds in the fruits, which I blended the fruits with, so that I decided that, you know, it's going to be too many nuts. Just we're just going to level this down. You can shake it a little, get some air out. Okay, and now these are going to go into the oven at 225 for the first hour. Now that you finish putting them in the pans, it goes into the oven at 250 Fahrenheit for 1 hour. So when you bake it for 1 hour at 250, then we'll lower the temperature to 225, and that is going to get the insides cooked properly. And we lower that to 225 for at least 2 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours. But we'll keep testing it, because once you put a toothpick in there and it comes out smooth, that means it's done. If it does not come out smooth for 2 or 3 hours, well, then you don't take it out the oven. So it's going to be there for 2 or 3 hours. But the first hour would be 250, and the last 2 hours would be 225. So don't forget. And we'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be checking mine after an hour, and I'll be checking it again after 2 hours, and I'll be constantly checking it. So I'll bring you in to see, let you see the progress as I go. Okay? So, Merry Christmas. Okay, guys, it's about an hour and a half, and we have some rise on the cakes, and that's wonderful. You can see that the center is still jiggly, so you don't really want to poke anything in there right now. It still has like an hour and a half to 2 hours to go, but I think it's going to be finished before 2 hours. So give it another hour, and we'll check it again. Check it again. Okay. The fruit cake, the rum cake, the Christmas rum cake. It's finished. It was in there for approximately 2.5 hours, and once you stick something in there and it comes out clean, it's finished. It's done. You stick a toothpick in there, it comes out really clean. It's done. So it's 2.5 hours for this size. Always check your make sure your oven is at 250 in the beginning, and then drop it to 225 for the last 2 hours, and then it will be perfect. So once again, it's the Christmas rum cake from Chris's Caribbean Delights. Enjoy. I hope you'll try this recipe. It's very simple. You can also tailor it to your expectations or whatever you feel like having, as we were talking about earlier. So once again, like, share, subscribe, and I wish you a happy holiday. Enjoy. And yes, guys, once it's out of the oven, I pour again some cherry brandy on it, just a sprinkle. It would just suck that right up, and this is to keep it moist. And maybe every other day you can pour a little bit of cherry brandy on it, or rum, or whatever you feel like. Or if not, just leave it as it is. So once again, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Now you just cut into it. Wonderful. It's super moist. Let's get closer. It's very moist and delectable and delicious. Christmas cake. No Christmas rum cake. The rum cake. And you know I can't resist taking a bite of this. It's so awesome. All the right notes. And the liquor that's coming through. The fruits are tender. The crunch of the nuts. It's just fantastic. Hands down. Hands down. The best. Hope you try this recipe. Like, share, and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. There's lots more to come. Thank you for watching.